Video. Here we go. It's the Mike Tech Show, show number 838. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Mike Smith. Thank you very much for downloading and subscribing to the show. Please visit the main website at miketechshow.com. You can email me questions and suggestions for show topics at miketechshow@gmail.com. You can visit my YouTube page to get the video for every show. And that's youtube.com/Michael Smith MTS. And of course, the link is in the show notes over at miketechshow.com. So this show is brought to you by Instant House Call. If you are an MSP or an IT professional, this is what you need for your remote access for all your clients. Instant House Call provides unattended and on-demand remote access, and you can try it free. Kick the tires, test it out for 15 days. Just go to instanthousecall, all one word, .com, and when you download the free trial, use the promo code MikeTechShow, all one word, and you'll get to test it out. So we thank Instant House Call for being a sponsor, and we are also happy. Oh, give me a second here. We want to thank MagnusBox for also being a sponsor. This is your one-stop shop for all your backup needs. You can even configure a local backup. As a matter of fact, I am going to do a show dedicated to how to do a local backup. I was talking to the owner, his name is Mike, and I'm also going to be testing SharePoint backups. So a little more insight into the Office 365 backing up. You can do bare metal restores where you do a full image. MagnusBox supports all operating systems. They support Synology, Windows Server, Linux, Mac. Everything you need. You can become a partner. Go to magnusbox.com and demo the software, where the software is the same as paying partners. So you get to really test it out. And don't forget, because you heard it here on the Mike Tech Show, you get free white labeling, and for the first 3 months, half price on your platform fee. Just say, I heard it on the Mike Tech Show. That's it. So thank you for, please support the sponsors. I use the products every day, or they would never make it onto this show. I have to personally love the product. I can't tell you how many opportunities I've had for fly-by-night or some kind of repair or something that I will just flat out turn it down or say, hey, I'll test it out. I'll try it. If I like it, I have to use it and love it. And that's why they are sponsors of this podcast. All right. So tonight, a couple twists and turns that just happened. I'm going to talk about an email migration that was supposed to be tomorrow. You want to talk about good luck. Wow. Wait until I'm going to read what I just read literally a minute ago before I started the show. We're going to talk about DNS and migration from an email, and then an Outlook issue and a PDF tip, and then a couple other things along the way for some security breaches and a lot of phishing problems that we're running into. And we're talking phishing with the PH, not an F. Okay, so let's begin with Migration Wizard by BitTitan. I am using this for the first time to do a migration from the Gmail suite, the G Suite, to Microsoft 365 mailboxes. And I did a trial migration, because once you set this up, when you go to the link that I'm going to have in the show notes, you set up a project. So the project I named, my client's name, mail migration. You add the source email and the destination email. Then there's a few things you can try. And once you set this up, it's very easy. So you get to do an assessment where you get all the docs and everything you need. Very interesting. You verify credentials and then do a trial migration. Then the next step is a pre-stage migration. Now, one of the links for tonight that I am going to show everybody, and give me a second here as I bring it up on my screen. When I was doing the migration, I found a problem with the Gmail side. So you have to kind of set up endpoints. And so an endpoint source was Gmail and an endpoint destination was Microsoft 365. Well, one of the things I couldn't figure out was once I have the super admin password, which is what you got to have complete admin of whether it's Gmail or wherever you're coming from or to, you got to have an account. They didn't ask for a password for Gmail. And I was like, why? That was kind of shocking. And then I actually tried and it failed on the authentications. And I'm like, what's going on? I'm an admin, but they didn't ask for the password. And I was very confused and I sent an email to tech support. I got an email right back with a link where you have to go through a lot of steps for authorizing a setup with the BitTitan service account. And this is going to be a link for tonight. And I'm going to get right to the steps where you have to make sure you're a super administrator. Then you got to go security, advanced settings, and then once you get there, they go through going through the advanced, and you have to set delegation for managing the domain-wide delegation. You have to add a new setting, and then you have this long number that you got to enter for the client ID. Then you got to check which scope do you want, read-only or full, and then you got to cut and paste this complete, almost like a script where you cut and paste and you put it in for the destination, and then you click authorize, and guess what? Everything worked from reading Gmail. Then it failed on the Microsoft 365, and I'm like, what's going on? So I got an error that then what was really nice was BitTitan gave me a great link when I dug into the error that showed me what I have to do. Just because you're a global admin, where I entered the global admin email account and password, that's not enough. The global admin has to be given special permissions to use all those accounts and completely be able to read and write all those accounts. And there is a PowerShell script that you launch PowerShell as an administrator, and it does give you this step-by-step. And then the script that you cut and paste, and then you'll get a prompt to log in as that global admin. I enter the email account, enter the password, bang, set. Now, with that, I was able to do the trial migration where it picks just a few gigs of each one and it migrated. And I watched as each one completed, and I was like, wow, this is great. Now I got my permissions ready. I do a pre-stage migration. This took quite a while. As a matter of fact, I launched this last Friday night, and into Saturday is when the largest mailbox finished. I migrated everything but the last 30 days. So I migrated calendars, contacts, and mail completely from G Suite over to the Microsoft account. I'm now ready to just click and do full migration, which only has to finish the last 30 days, and we're ready. I can do the DNS changes. We were scheduling this for 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. My client had to drop his son off at college today, and he's staying away. And as a matter of fact, it's 5 hours away, and he's going to spend the weekend there. So he's not coming back tomorrow. And we were on the phone today, my son and I said, look, I don't feel comfortable if we have some issues and questions. Yeah, you're reachable by the phone, but boy, I really want you in the office. And he said, tell you what, he says, why don't we do this on Tuesday? And we looked at our calendar, everything, we're good. We're now moving this on Tuesday. So I'm going to show you a screen as I logged in to my BitTitan account. You're not going to believe this. So the screen reads, Microsoft 365 mailbox migrations intermittent failure identified. This issue has been identified to cause due to the Microsoft 365 tenant EWS response. The developer is working with Microsoft support. They're investigating. We are currently investigating Microsoft 365 mailbox migrations fail intermittently with error, and it's error internal server error. And this was August 25th, 5:20 Pacific Daylight Time. Wow. That's all I can say. That's amazing that my client happened to move the migration to Tuesday, and I feel very good about that. I can't believe that I've just read that error as we were ready to go live here tonight for the show. So I'm just blown away at the cosmic consulting gods are smiling upon me today, because that would have been horrible going through a migration with intermittent failures of moving those last 30 days over. And I can't imagine how many people are going through problems. I would have read that and I would have canceled the migration anyway. Like, seeing that, I got to make sure that this issue is resolved. It's not an emergency that they have to move. So I can push this if I have to, even another couple days, and I will, based on the message I get now. And it's great having this third-party BitTitan kind of watching over stuff and helping you migrate. It's $15 a mailbox that I can keep running the sync over and over as many times as you want, so the mail and all the calendar items and everything can move. I strongly recommend using this. I received so many emails and recommendations from trusted listeners and computer people that are out there in the field recommending this, and this is the first time I'm actually going through using it, and so far so good, and I am very happy. So I had to share my story of Migration Wizard. Let's weave in a couple emails here. And this is DNS and migration stuff from Bill. I sent you this before, but with all the emails you get, this is my procedure. A week or so before migration, point the MX record to a free account at spamhero.com. You point Spam Hero at your current email provider. If it takes a couple of days to happen, there's not an interruption in delivery. Set up the new 365 mail account. I use the Microsoft Migration Free tool in 365. You can start that immediately. It runs every night and it syncs existing mail and users from old to new and is not destructive. You can let this run for weeks if needed. On day of cutover, you point Spam Hero at the new email destination and the change is instant. No waiting for DNS to propagate. Kick off final sync of the email, which only takes a few minutes since most is already there. Adjust Outlook to the new email server. It will all come down since it's already there. TTL really doesn't matter following this plan. He's responding to the problems of the last migration that I spoke on the last show. To be fair, with my job now, I have not had to do a migration in a couple of years, but this has worked for many years, enormous amount of time. It enables the Outlook profile flip. I hope this helps. Using the Spam Hero trick, you will never wait for DNS again. Now, I got to admit, since I've started this migration with the Migration Wizard, Network Solutions hosts the domain name for this email migration, which I trust implicitly. Network Solutions. And the migration, I can set the TTL and not worry, and it'll go quick. Now, of course, that I said that, I'll be punished with a serious problem at Network Solutions next week, but I'll let you know next Thursday how things went. Bill, that was a great procedure that I'm going to look into, and anybody listening should really look into. This makes sense, and it's great. Thank you so much. Bill also, as we continue with an Outlook problem, Bill sent this. This is very interesting. It's from Security Now podcast, Steve Gibson. I haven't listened to that in a while, but that we trust Steve Gibson and security, and I really like that. And I used to watch that all the time. I say watch it because you could watch it on TV, but I would listen to the audio for the podcast. He takes the text from the actual show. And speaking of Outlook, Leo, you're going to love this one. This is CVE 2022-35742. That's a patch, which addresses that annoying Microsoft Outlook technically denial of service is what you would call it, vulnerability, which I mentioned earlier. If an Outlook user were to receive a specially crafted email, and a great many did recently, their Outlook executable would immediately crash, and it would not be restarted. Upon an attempt to restart it, it would immediately terminate again once it retrieved and attempted to process that invalid message. And Leo says, what a mess. Steve continues. And every time you tried to start it, it would just crash. And it's not even necessarily for the targeted victim to open the message or to use the reading pane. Just its presence in the inbox keeps Outlook from starting. The only way to restore Outlook's operability is to access the mail account using some other email client, or perhaps webmail to remove the offending emails from the mailbox before then finally restarting Outlook. But don't worry, as Microsoft explained, Outlook is your first line of defense against executing any of those malicious diagnostic tool extension files, so you should feel completely safe. Could you imagine that? I'm now armed, and I forwarded that to my son. We have not experienced this with any of our clients, but I needed to share that, and thank you, Bill, for sending me that. This is where, if that's happening, just go right to the web, and emails that don't look right or you shouldn't have got, delete them. then start Outlook again, and hopefully there'd be enough time where it can sync to delete it. Because that's where I'm kind of worried. If it takes a few minutes shouldn't take a few minutes, but you got that delay time where it's got to sync to the Outlook information store. I think in a worst case scenario, you would almost have to redo the profile and let all the mail come back down again, just in case it couldn't sync in time. So what an ugly little problem. And at least Microsoft has identified it. I'm going to give a PDF tip, and then I want to talk about phishing scams and breach, another security breach that I have to mention. So this is from Hilton. Hi, Mike. Love the show. One thing I've found that a lot of users don't know is that if you have a recent version of Office, you can pretty much natively work with PDFs. You're not going to get all the awesome features in Adobe Acrobat Pro, but if you don't want to pay the subscription, you can open, edit, and save PDFs in Microsoft Word. It does a pretty decent job of rendering PDFs and converting them into Word docs. No, I did not mention that when I was talking about all the tips. And Hilton, thank you for writing in so I can let everybody know that. And a lot of us know that's obvious, but I'll tell you, one feature I love, and it's because I own the full Adobe, it adds into Word, Excel, the whole Office suite, a one-click save as a PDF. After I save the natural Word document, I click to save as a PDF, and it just does it instantly. And all I got to do is give it the location and the name, and it always comes up with where the document came from, which is where I want the PDF to go. Great. Okay. Let's unpause. This isn't going to be in the audio part of the podcast. Sorry about that. Just had a coughing fit that just came out of nowhere. All right. So now we want to continue. So I want to talk about a couple things. In the chat, Corey mentioned something really important, that if you use Plex, there has been a breach and you got to change your password immediately. If you know anyone using Plex, if you use Plex, you must change your password. Thank you, Corey. He mentioned that in the pre-show in the chat. And this goes with a couple things I want to talk about. My son and I are seeing an incredible, just an incredible uptick in phishing texts. And I have. Every day I get multiple. I keep blocking the number. It doesn't matter. I keep getting phishing scams asking me to click on a link. If you're not expecting something, don't do it. And you got to promote this and talk about it to all of your family and your clients. It's really horrible, the amount of text messages that are scams. And I just hate, and we get clients that are calling us saying, I just got this text. I was like, nah, just delete it. You got to ignore it. And then there's another one. And I'm thinking of doing the following, and I'm putting this out there for everybody. I'm thinking of filtering on the word Norton and McAfee for some clients. They are getting so many fake invoices. I'm tired of telling him it's fake. I don't understand. If the first 150 emails that we said Norton's fake and you don't have Norton, don't you think that would sink in? Well, no, it doesn't. So the same with McAfee and the same with Geek Squad. We're seeing an alarming amount and then today I got one from PayPal that it clearly wasn't PayPal. And then in the midst of all of this, and this became local news because my wife mentioned this to me, this week, Pico, which is our electric company provider, sent me an email that it was Pico. It had my name. It was crafted beautifully, telling me that I'm delinquent on my electrical payments, and we get electric gas combined on the bill. I have auto pay, and I get a notification when the auto pay goes, and I know I just paid my bill. So I didn't click on anything on that email, and I went right to my Pico account on the web, and everything was fine. So I just deleted the email. Next day on local news here, Pico had a problem that accidentally sent delinquent emails to tens of thousands of their customers that were false. And they're working on the problem, they're looking into it, and they didn't mean to send it. So they must have been getting crushed for people. I pay my electric bill. I wanted to make sure, did something happen maybe with the provider, and that didn't go through, but it did. So if there's something in question, don't click on anything in the email. Teach people to just go directly to the site and confirm if there's an issue. You got a fake Amazon purchase that's happening. Well, don't believe the email message. Go to Amazon.com, log in as in your account, and then check and see if there's a problem. This is what you need. It's a lot of work, and it's hard to get everybody to understand that because our clients, a lot of them, yes, they understand, but we have a population of older users that fall prey to this. And they fall prey to it, as I spoke, over and over again. I have a percentage of clients that can't come to grips that another human being would do something so despicable that it's not conceivable. Why would someone do that? And they can't comprehend that there are bad actors, bad people that will do this. They just can't come to grips with that. We help them the best that we can. Try to educate, not get upset, be friendly, be nice all the time, and just try to educate. It's the only way to battle this. So now, with all that, I want to know, should I block all emails with the word Norton or McAfee and coming inbound to clients that they'll never use that? They're using my malware bytes that I sell them, or they've come with their own. I'm thinking of doing that. Is anybody out there doing that? I'm just, I'm at that point to just help them out. Now, this is something totally separate. I almost forgot that I need to talk about, and I put my email in because Dave, if you're listening to this while you're working out, this is Mike talking directly to Dave Greenbaum. I need your help. I need Dr. Dave's help with a Mac VPN issue. I have a client that I have OpenVPN set up on a Synology. I have Macs that use TunnelBlick. My own personal MacBook Pro, I have TunnelBlick. I can't connect anymore. I am getting an error. I have done everything. I have exhausted everything, and I need your help. So, Dave, thank you. I sent I sent you an email. It's got my cell phone on it. Please call me at any time. I would really, really appreciate it. And with that, that's got to be weird if he's hearing that for the first time as he's listening to this. He just stopped on his treadmill or his elliptical or whatever as he's listening to this. So with that, I want to thank everybody for downloading, subscribing to the show. I really appreciate it. And please take a moment and a link that I rarely talk about. They just upgraded. They just did an update to their version today. Fabs Auto Backup Pro 7 Pro must own. If you are in our business, if you're doing any work for relating to anything with computers and you're working with multiple machines, Fabs Auto Backup Pro is a must purchase. We're an affiliate. Can't live without that software. That's one of those products. Gotta have. Just gotta have. I want to thank Magnus Box for being a sponsor. Please check them out. And then, of course, Instant House Call that has been with us for so long. And we just love Instant House Call. And there is a beta version that's out now for the Specialist. My son has been using it more. I'm afraid of the beta versions for this. My son right away did it. He says, I love it. Instead of sliding the screens, you can pop. If someone's got multiple monitors, and let me tell you, that's the world today. We have clients with triple monitors. We set up one with quad monitors. If you have a client with multiple monitors and you have multiple monitors, you can actually match it up with the screens in Instant House Call with the new version. That is, I guess my wish list of a feature that I am just so glad they've implemented. And if you were on the fence before, don't be. Jump in. Give it a try. That is it for tonight's show. Hope everybody enjoyed it and you got something out of it. I'm looking for feedback. Should I filter the words Norton and McAfee on emails and block them? And then second, and any advice, if you're having trouble, if you have a Mac and you're having trouble with VPN access, go into OpenVPN. I share whatever you can. Email me. I would really appreciate it. MikeTechShow@gmail.com. That's it. See everybody back here. Same time, same channel next week. Bye-bye.